Discipline is not a gift that falls from the sky, nor is it a trait that some are born with and others are not. It is a force, a decision, a line drawn in the sand between who you are and who you want to become. Imagine waking up on a cold morning, the world outside your window still shrouded in darkness, your bed warm and inviting. Your mind whispers, "Stay a little longer. You deserve it. You worked hard yesterday." This is the moment of truth, the crossroads where your future is decided not by grand gestures, but by the smallest of choices. Most people in this moment negotiate with their laziness. They bargain for 5 more minutes, for a little more comfort, for a delay that seems harmless. But what they do not realize is that every negotiation with laziness is a silent agreement to remain the same. Laziness is cunning. It does not always appear as idleness. Sometimes it wears the mask of busyness, endless scrolling, unnecessary tasks, distractions disguised as productivity. It convinces you that you are doing enough, that you are moving forward, when in reality you are running in place. The truth is, every time you choose comfort over action, you are not just losing a battle, you are training your mind to obey laziness. You are building a habit of surrender, a pattern that will repeat itself in every area of your life. The cost is not just a missed workout or an unfinished project. The real cost is the erosion of your self-respect, the slow decay of your potential, the quiet regret that grows louder with each passing day. If you want to change your life, you must first change your relationship with laziness. You must see it for what it is, the enemy of your future, the thief of your dreams. And when it calls your name, you must refuse to answer. You must stand up, even when every part of you wants to stay down. This is not about being harsh with yourself. It is about honoring your future, about respecting the person you are capable of becoming. Discipline is not punishment. It is the highest form of self-respect. Laziness is a master of disguise, and its most dangerous form is not the obvious one where you do nothing at all, but the subtle, creeping kind that seeps into your daily life without you noticing. It's the voice that tells you to check your phone before you start your work, promising just a minute of distraction that turns into an hour. It's the urge to tidy your desk, organize your files, or make another cup of tea, all before you tackle the real task that demands your focus. These are not acts of rest, they are acts of avoidance. Laziness is clever because it knows that if it can keep you busy with the unimportant, it can keep you from the uncomfortable. And the uncomfortable is where growth lives. The uncomfortable is where you stretch, where you sweat, where you become more than you were yesterday. But to reach it, you must first recognize the tricks that laziness plays. You must become a detective in your own life, questioning every urge to delay, every impulse to choose comfort over challenge. Ask yourself, is this action moving me forward, or is it just keeping me busy? The answer will often surprise you. Most people never ask this question. They drift through their days, reacting to whatever feels easiest, never realizing that they are building a life of avoidance. But you are not most people. You are here because you want more. You are here because you are willing to face the truth even when it is uncomfortable. The truth is that every time you refuse to negotiate with laziness, you take back a piece of your power. You build a little more strength, a little more confidence, a little more trust in yourself. Over time, these small victories add up. They become the foundation of a disciplined life, a life where you are in control, not your impulses. It starts with a single choice: to act, not to wait, to move, not to delay, to do what must be done even when you don't want to. That is the moment discipline is born, not in comfort, but in the fire of resistance. And every time you choose action over excuse, you are forging a new identity, the identity of someone who does not negotiate with laziness, but conquers it. Every negotiation with laziness, no matter how small, is a lesson you teach yourself about what is acceptable. You might think that skipping a workout, postponing a study session, or leaving a task unfinished is just a minor slip, a harmless decision that you can make up for tomorrow. But the truth is, these small choices are not isolated. They are the building blocks of your character. Each time you choose the easy path, you reinforce the idea that comfort is more important than progress. You may not notice the effects immediately, but over weeks and months, the pattern becomes clear. You start to see that your goals remain out of reach, your dreams feel distant, and your confidence begins to erode. You wonder why you feel stuck, why motivation is so hard to find, why your life seems to be on repeat. The answer is simple. You have trained yourself to obey laziness. You have allowed comfort to become your default setting. But the good news is that this pattern can be broken. The moment you decide to stop negotiating with laziness, you begin to reclaim your life. It starts with awareness, catching yourself in the act of making excuses, recognizing the stories you tell yourself to justify delay. It continues with action, choosing to do the hard thing even when every part of you wants to avoid it. And it is solidified by repetition, making the disciplined choice again and again until it becomes who you are. This process is not easy. There will be days when the pull of comfort feels overwhelming, when your mind invents 1,000 reasons to wait, to rest, to give in. But these are the moments that matter most. These are the moments when you have the opportunity to change your story. Every time you choose discipline over laziness, you are not just moving closer to your goals, you are proving to yourself that you are capable of more. You are building a foundation of self-respect that cannot be shaken by temporary discomfort. And as this foundation grows, you will find that the voice of laziness becomes weaker, while the voice of discipline grows stronger. This is how transformation happens, not all at once, but one choice at a time, until the person you become is someone who no longer negotiates with laziness, but defeats it every single day.
Laziness is rarely obvious, and that is what makes it so dangerous. It does not always announce itself as a desire to do nothing. More often, it sneaks in through the cracks of your daily routine, wearing the mask of harmless habits. It might look like checking your notifications before you start your work, telling yourself you need to get in the right mindset. It might sound like promising to start after one more episode, one more snack, one more scroll through social media. Sometimes, laziness even disguises itself as productivity, organizing your desk, making elaborate to-do lists, or researching endlessly without ever taking real action. These activities feel like progress, but in reality, they're just another form of avoidance. The danger is that you start to believe you are being productive, when in fact, you are just circling around the real work. The only way to break this cycle is to develop the ability to see through the disguises. You must become brutally honest with yourself, asking, is this moving me forward, or is it just another way to delay? This kind of honesty is uncomfortable, but it is necessary. It is the first step in reclaiming your time and your potential. Once you start to recognize the tricks laziness plays, you can begin to fight back. The fight does not have to be dramatic. In fact, it is often won in the smallest of moments. When you feel the urge to delay, to distract, to do anything but the hard thing in front of you, that is your opportunity. If you can win that moment, if you can choose to act instead of avoid, you have taken a step toward discipline. These small victories matter more than you realize. Each one is a brick in the foundation of a new identity. Over time, as you stack these victories, you will find that the pull of laziness weakens. You will start to trust yourself more, knowing that you can count on yourself to do what needs to be done. This trust is the true reward of discipline. It is not just about achieving goals, it is about becoming the kind of person who does not let laziness decide the direction of their life.
The real danger of negotiating with laziness is not just the time you lose in the moment, but the habits you build for a lifetime. Every time you choose comfort over action, you are casting a vote for the person you will become tomorrow. It may seem harmless to skip a workout, to put off a difficult conversation, or to leave a project unfinished just this once. But these small decisions are not isolated. They are threads that, when woven together, create the fabric of your character. Over weeks and months, the pattern becomes clear. The easy choices become your default, and the hard choices become foreign. You start to notice that your goals remain out of reach, that your dreams feel more like fantasies than possibilities. You may even begin to feel a quiet sense of regret, a nagging voice that asks, "What could I have achieved if I had just pushed a little harder?" This regret is the true cost of laziness, not just wasted minutes, but wasted opportunities, wasted potential, and wasted self-respect. The longer you allow yourself to negotiate with laziness, the more you reinforce the belief that you are someone who gives in when things get tough. This belief becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, making it even harder to break free from the cycle. But the good news is that the cycle can be broken at any moment. The first step is to recognize the urgency of the situation. Time is not a renewable resource. Every day you spend negotiating with laziness is a day you never get back. The opportunities you miss today may never return. The person you could become is waiting on the other side of your excuses. If you want to change your life, you must stop waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect feeling, or the perfect plan. You must act now, in the face of discomfort, uncertainty, and resistance. The decision to stop negotiating with laziness is not a one-time event. It is a daily commitment. It is a promise you make to yourself every morning, every afternoon, every night. And with each promise kept, you move closer to becoming the disciplined, unstoppable person you were meant to be. Breaking the cycle of laziness does not require a grand gesture or a dramatic overhaul of your entire life. In fact, the most powerful way to defeat laziness is through small, immediate actions taken in the present moment. When you feel the familiar pull of comfort, when your mind begins to craft excuses or bargain for more time, that is your signal to act. Do not wait for motivation to arrive or for the conditions to be perfect. Instead, pick one thing you know you need to do, no matter how small, and do it right away. It could be as simple as standing up when your alarm rings, opening your book to study, or taking the first step toward a difficult conversation. The key is to move before your mind has a chance to talk you out of it. This single act of immediate action is more powerful than hours of planning or wishing. It breaks the pattern of delay and sends a message to your brain: I am in control. Each time you win this small battle, you gain a little more confidence in your ability to act. Over time, these small victories begin to stack up, creating a foundation of discipline that laziness cannot easily shake. You start to see yourself differently, not as someone who gives in to comfort, but as someone who takes action, even when it is hard. This shift in identity is the true engine of change. It is not about being perfect or never feeling lazy again. Laziness will always try to return, whispering its familiar arguments, but now you have proof that you can resist. You have evidence that you can act even when you do not feel like it. This evidence builds trust in yourself, and that trust is priceless. It is the quiet confidence that no matter what challenges come your way, you will not fold. You will not bargain with weakness. You will act. And with each act, you move further away from the grip of laziness and closer to the life you truly want. The journey to discipline is not about giant leaps, but about the courage to take the next small step again and again until action becomes your new normal. As you continue to choose action over excuses, something remarkable begins to happen within you.
The small victories you once had to fight for start to come more naturally. What was once a struggle, getting out of bed on time, starting your work without delay, saying no to distractions, becomes part of your daily rhythm. The voice of laziness, which used to shout so loudly, now becomes a faint whisper, easier to ignore with each passing day. This is the transformation that discipline brings. It is not about becoming a machine or denying yourself all comfort. It is about gaining the freedom to choose your actions rather than being ruled by fleeting impulses. With every disciplined choice, you build a new identity, one rooted in self-respect and reliability. You begin to trust yourself in ways you never have before. When you say you will do something, you know you will follow through. This trust is the foundation of confidence, and it spills over into every area of your life. You find yourself taking on new challenges, setting bigger goals, and believing in your ability to achieve them. The world opens up to you, not because it has changed, but because you have. You are no longer a prisoner of your own excuses. You are free to pursue what matters most to you, knowing that you have the strength to overcome obstacles and setbacks. This sense of freedom is the true reward of discipline. It is not about restriction or punishment. It is about unlocking your potential and living life on your own terms. The more you practice discipline, the more natural it becomes. It's like building a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. And as your discipline grows, so does your sense of self-respect. You begin to see yourself as someone who is worthy of success, someone who is capable of greatness. This is the ultimate victory over laziness, not just achieving your goals, but becoming the kind of person who never settles for less than they are capable of. The journey is not always easy, but it is always worth it. With each step, you move closer to the life you were meant to live, guided by the quiet power of discipline.
The battle with laziness is not one that you win once and for all. It is a daily contest, a recurring challenge that tests your resolve every morning, every afternoon, and every night. Even as you grow stronger and more disciplined, laziness will continue to look for openings, waiting for moments of weakness or fatigue to slip back into your routine. It may show up as the urge to skip your responsibilities after a long day, or as the temptation to take shortcuts when no one is watching. This is why vigilance is so important. You must remain aware of the subtle ways laziness tries to reclaim its territory. The disciplined life is not about never feeling lazy again. It is about recognizing laziness for what it is and refusing to let it dictate your actions. Over time, you will notice that the struggle becomes less intense. The habits you have built through repeated action become your new default. You no longer have to summon enormous willpower to do what needs to be done. It simply becomes what you do. This is the point where discipline shifts from being a conscious effort to an unconscious way of life. You wake up and move into action without debate. You handle your responsibilities without delay. You pursue your goals with steady, consistent effort. This transformation does not happen overnight, and it does not happen by accident. It is the result of countless small decisions made day after day to choose discipline over comfort. And while the temptation to negotiate with laziness will never disappear entirely, your ability to resist it will grow stronger with each victory. The disciplined life is not a life of constant struggle, but a life of increasing ease and confidence. You become someone who can be counted on by others, but most importantly, by yourself. This reliability is the foundation of all achievement. It is what allows you to set ambitious goals and pursue them with unwavering focus. It is what gives you the courage to face challenges and setbacks without losing momentum, and it is what separates those who dream from those who do. Discipline, once forced, becomes natural. Laziness, once powerful, becomes powerless. This is the reward for refusing to negotiate, for standing firm in the face of comfort, and for choosing action again and again. Self-reflection is a crucial part of building discipline, for it is only by looking honestly at your life that you can see where laziness has taken root. Take a moment to examine your daily habits, your routines, and your patterns of behavior. Ask yourself, in what areas have I allowed comfort to win? Where have I been putting off what I know needs to be done? Perhaps it is your health, where you have skipped workouts or chosen unhealthy foods out of convenience. Maybe it is your studies or your career, where you have delayed important projects, telling yourself that you will start tomorrow. Or perhaps it is in your relationships, where you have avoided difficult conversations or failed to show up fully for the people who matter most. Whatever the area, recognize that the longer you allow laziness to dictate your actions, the more time you lose, and time is the one resource you can never get back. This realization can be sobering, but it is also empowering. For as soon as you see where you have been negotiating with laziness, you gain the power to change it. You are not doomed to repeat the same patterns forever. At any moment, you can decide to take back control. The process begins with a single honest admission. I have been letting laziness win here, but I am done making excuses. From that point forward, you can choose to act differently. You can choose to do the thing you have been avoiding, no matter how small. You can choose to break the cycle, to interrupt the pattern, to reclaim your time and your potential. This act of self-reflection is not about guilt or shame. It is about responsibility. It is about recognizing that you have the power to shape your life, one decision at a time. The more you practice this kind of honest self-examination, the easier it becomes to spot the subtle ways laziness tries to creep back in. And each time you catch it, you have another opportunity to choose discipline instead. This is how you build a life of intention, a life where you are the author of your story, not a passive character swept along by the current of comfort.
The journey to discipline does not require you to overhaul your entire life in a single day. In fact, the most effective way to defeat laziness and build lasting discipline is to start small, so small that it almost feels trivial. Pick one thing you know you need to do, something you have been putting off, and do it immediately. Do not overthink it, do not debate it, and do not ask yourself how you feel about it. Just act. This could be as simple as making your bed as soon as you wake up, sending that email you have been avoiding, or taking a 5-minute walk when you would rather sit. The power of these small actions lies not in their size, but in their ability to break the pattern of delay. Each time you act without hesitation, you send a message to your brain. I am a person who takes action. This message, repeated over and over, begins to reshape your identity. You start to see yourself as someone who does not wait for the perfect moment, but creates it through action. The compounding effect of these tiny victories is extraordinary. One small win leads to another, and soon you find yourself with a string of successes that build momentum. This momentum is the antidote to laziness. It creates a sense of progress, however modest, and that progress fuels your motivation to keep going. More importantly, each small victory builds your confidence. You begin to trust yourself, knowing that when laziness shows up tomorrow, you will be ready. You will not fold, you will not bargain, you will act. This trust is priceless, for it is the foundation of all achievement. It is what allows you to set bigger goals, to take on greater challenges, and to persist in the face of setbacks. The disciplined life is not built in a single leap, but in 1,000 small steps, each one a choice to act rather than delay. Over time, these steps add up to a journey of transformation, a journey that begins with the simple decision to do the next right thing right now. In this way, discipline becomes not just something you do, but something you are. As you continue to stack small victories, something profound begins to shift inside you. Each time you choose action over excuse, you are not just making progress on your goals, you are building a deep reservoir of self-trust. This trust is not loud or boastful, it is a quiet confidence that grows with every disciplined choice. You begin to realize that you can rely on yourself, even when circumstances are difficult or motivation is nowhere to be found. This self-trust is the antidote to doubt and hesitation. It is the voice that reminds you, I have done hard things before, and I can do them again. With each act of discipline, you reinforce the belief that you are capable, resilient, and worthy of success. This belief becomes a shield against the temptations of laziness and the distractions of comfort. It gives you the strength to say no to what is easy and yes to what is necessary. Over time, this inner strength becomes your greatest asset. It allows you to face challenges with courage, to persist when others give up, and to keep moving forward even when the path is unclear. Discipline, once a struggle, becomes a source of freedom. You are no longer at the mercy of your moods or impulses. You are no longer trapped by the cycle of delay and regret. Instead, you are free to pursue your goals with clarity and purpose, knowing that you have the power to shape your own destiny. This freedom is not the absence of effort, but the presence of choice. It is the ability to decide in every moment who you want to be and what you want to create. The more you exercise this freedom, the more natural it becomes. Discipline is no longer a burden or a chore. It is a way of life, a way of honoring your potential and respecting your future. And as you continue to build this foundation of self-trust, you will find that the challenges that once seemed insurmountable now feel like opportunities for growth. You will look back and realize that the person you have become is not the result of a single decision, but of countless small choices to act, to persist, and to never negotiate with laziness.
There will always be people who wait for the perfect moment to begin, who tell themselves that tomorrow will be better, that motivation will arrive, or that circumstances will somehow align in their favor. These are the people who live in a constant state of preparation, always planning but rarely doing, always dreaming but never building. They are trapped by the myth of the right time, believing that action must be preceded by inspiration or ideal conditions. But the truth is, the perfect moment never comes. Life is messy, unpredictable, and often inconvenient. If you wait for everything to feel just right, you will wait forever. The difference between those who achieve their goals and those who do not is not talent, luck, or even intelligence. It is the willingness to act in spite of uncertainty, discomfort, and fear. The disciplined person understands that action creates momentum, and momentum creates opportunity. By moving forward, even when you do not feel ready, you open doors that would have remained closed had you waited. You discover strengths you did not know you had, and you learn lessons that cannot be found in books or plans. The act of doing, of stepping into the unknown, is what separates the dreamers from the doers. It is what builds resilience, adaptability, and confidence. When you choose to act, you are making a statement, not just to the world, but to yourself. You are declaring that your future matters more than your comfort, that your goals are worth the risk of failure, and that you are willing to pay the price of growth. This choice is available to everyone, but only a few are brave enough to make it. The good news is that you do not have to be fearless to act. You simply have to be willing. Willing to start before you feel ready, willing to move before you have all the answers, and willing to trust that you will figure things out along the way. This willingness is the seed of discipline, and with each act of courage, it grows stronger. Over time, you become the kind of person who does not wait for life to happen, but who makes life happen, one disciplined action at a time. The mindset of those who refuse to negotiate with laziness is fundamentally different from those who wait for the right conditions. These individuals have made a silent pact with themselves to act regardless of how they feel and to honor their commitments even when no one is watching. They understand that discipline is not about grand gestures or dramatic sacrifices, but about the quiet, consistent choices made in the privacy of their own lives. When the alarm rings in the early morning, they do not debate whether to get up. They simply rise. When a task needs to be done, they do not wait for motivation. They begin, knowing that action itself will generate the energy they need. This approach may seem rigid to some, but in reality, it is the source of true freedom. By removing the option to negotiate with laziness, they eliminate the exhausting cycle of indecision and regret. Their days are not spent wrestling with excuses or justifying delays. Instead, they are filled with a sense of purpose and momentum. Over time, this consistency yields extraordinary results. Goals that once seemed distant become attainable. Skills that once felt out of reach are developed through daily practice. Confidence grows not from fleeting bursts of inspiration, but from the steady accumulation of small victories. Perhaps most importantly, these individuals experience a profound transformation in how they see themselves. They no longer identify as someone who struggles with discipline, but as someone who embodies it. This shift in identity is the true reward of consistent action. It is the quiet pride that comes from knowing you can rely on yourself, the deep satisfaction of living in alignment with your values, and the unshakable belief that you are capable of achieving whatever you set your mind to. The disciplined life is not without its challenges, but it is rich with meaning, growth, and fulfillment. Each day becomes an opportunity to prove to yourself that you are stronger than your excuses, braver than your fears, and more committed to your future than to your comfort. This is the transformation that awaits anyone who chooses to stop negotiating with laziness and to start living with discipline. One action, one decision, one day at a time. The journey of discipline is not a straight line, nor is it a destination you reach and then rest upon forever. It is a path you walk every day, sometimes with confidence, sometimes with doubt, but always with the awareness that each step matters. There will be days when the pull of comfort is stronger than usual, when fatigue, stress, or disappointment make the easy choice seem irresistible. On those days, you may stumble. You may even give in to laziness for a moment, but what matters most is what you do next. Discipline is not about never failing. It is about refusing to let failure define you. It is about standing up after you fall, learning from your mistakes, and recommitting to your path. The disciplined person understands that setbacks are not the end of the story, but simply part of the process. Each challenge is an opportunity to grow stronger, to refine your habits, and to deepen your commitment to your goals. Over time, you will notice that the moments of weakness become less frequent, and the moments of strength become your new normal. The voice of laziness, once loud and persuasive, fades into the background, replaced by the steady rhythm of action and progress. This is the enduring power of discipline. It is not a single act, but a way of living. It is the choice to do what must be done, not just when it is easy, but especially when it is hard. It is the decision to honor your future self, to respect your potential, and to build a life that reflects your highest values. As you continue on this journey, remember that discipline is not about perfection, it is about persistence. It is about showing up for yourself day after day and choosing action over comfort even when no one else is watching. This is the path that leads to true freedom, fulfillment, and success.
And it is a path that is open to anyone who is willing to take the first step, and then the next, and then the next, until discipline is no longer something you force, but something you live, naturally and effortlessly, every single day.
Self-awareness is the silent engine behind every act of discipline. Without it, you move through life on autopilot, reacting to impulses and emotions without understanding their source. But when you cultivate self-awareness, you gain the power to pause and observe your own patterns. You begin to notice the moments when laziness tries to creep in, when you reach for your phone instead of your goals, when you rationalize skipping a workout, or when you tell yourself you'll start tomorrow. This awareness is not about judgment or self-criticism, it is about honest observation. The more you practice noticing your thoughts and behaviors, the easier it becomes to catch yourself before you slip into old habits. Self-awareness allows you to ask, why am I avoiding this task? What am I really feeling right now? Often you'll discover that laziness is just a mask for fear, uncertainty, or overwhelm. By shining a light on these hidden emotions, you can address them directly instead of letting them control you. Over time, self-awareness becomes your internal compass, guiding you back to discipline whenever you stray. It empowers you to make conscious choices, to interrupt negative cycles, and to celebrate your progress without arrogance. In the journey of discipline, self-awareness is your most reliable ally, helping you transform unconscious habits into intentional actions and turning every day into an opportunity for growth.
Discipline is not just a tool for achieving goals. It is the architect of your identity. Every time you choose discipline over laziness, you are casting a vote for the kind of person you want to become. At first, these choices may feel forced or unnatural, but with repetition, they begin to shape your self-image. You start to see yourself as someone who follows through, who keeps promises, and who can be trusted to do the hard things. This new identity is powerful because it changes how you approach every challenge. Instead of asking, "Can I do this?" you begin to ask, "How would a disciplined person act in this situation?" This subtle shift in perspective makes it easier to make the right choices, even when motivation is low. Over months and years, the disciplined actions you take accumulate, building a reputation not just with others, but with yourself. You become proud of your reliability, your resilience, and your ability to overcome obstacles. This pride is not arrogance, it is the quiet confidence that comes from living in alignment with your values. Ultimately, discipline is not just something you do, it is who you are. And as your identity evolves, so does your capacity to achieve, to lead, and to inspire others. The benefits of discipline extend far beyond productivity and achievement. They reach deep into your mental and emotional well-being. When you live without discipline, you often experience guilt, anxiety, and a sense of being out of control. Procrastination and avoidance create a cycle of stress as unfinished tasks pile up and self-doubt grows. In contrast, discipline brings order to your mind and peace to your emotions. Each time you complete a task you've been avoiding, you experience a surge of relief and satisfaction. This sense of accomplishment boosts your mood and reduces anxiety. Over time, disciplined living builds resilience, teaching you that you can handle discomfort and uncertainty without falling apart. You learn to trust yourself, which is the foundation of self-esteem. Discipline also helps you set healthy boundaries, say no to distractions, and prioritize self-care. As a result, you feel more balanced, more focused, and more in control of your life. The emotional stability that comes from discipline is a gift that keeps giving, allowing you to face life's challenges with courage and optimism. In this way, discipline is not just a means to an end, it is a source of lasting happiness and inner peace. Your environment plays a crucial role in shaping your habits, often more than willpower alone.
If you surround yourself with distractions, constant notifications, cluttered spaces, or people who encourage procrastination, discipline becomes an uphill battle. On the other hand, a supportive environment can make discipline almost effortless. This means designing your surroundings to minimize temptation and maximize focus. Keep your workspace tidy, remove unnecessary distractions, and set up visual reminders of your goals. Choose to spend time with people who value growth and consistency, as their habits will influence yours. Even small changes like preparing your gym clothes the night before or keeping healthy snacks within reach can make a big difference. Your environment should act as an ally, nudging you toward the behaviors you want to reinforce. Remember, discipline is not just about resisting temptation, it's about making the right choice the easy choice. By intentionally shaping your environment, you set yourself up for success, making it far more likely that you'll follow through on your commitments and build the disciplined life you desire.
There is a profound link between discipline and self-worth. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, no matter how small, you send a message to your subconscious. I am worthy of respect. I am capable of change. Conversely, when you repeatedly break your own commitments, you erode your self-trust and begin to doubt your value. This is why discipline is so much more than a productivity hack. It is an act of self-respect. When you choose to do what you said you would do, even when it's hard, you reinforce the belief that you matter. This growing sense of self-worth becomes a powerful motivator, making it easier to stay disciplined in the future. You begin to expect more from yourself, and you stop settling for mediocrity. Over time, this self-respect radiates outward, influencing how others see and treat you. People are drawn to those who have high standards and who live with integrity. In this way, discipline not only transforms your relationship with yourself, but also elevates your relationships with others, creating a virtuous cycle of respect, trust, and achievement.
There is a profound link between discipline and self-worth. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, no matter how small, you send a message to your subconscious. I am worthy of respect. I am capable of change. Conversely, when you repeatedly break your own commitments, you erode your self-trust and begin to doubt your value. This is why discipline is so much more than a productivity hack. It is an act of self-respect. When you choose to do what you said you would do, even when it's hard, you reinforce the belief that you matter. This growing sense of self-worth becomes a powerful motivator, making it easier to stay disciplined in the future. You begin to expect more from yourself, and you stop settling for mediocrity. Over time, this self-respect radiates outward, influencing how others see and treat you. People are drawn to those who have high standards and who live with integrity. In this way, discipline not only transforms your relationship with yourself, but also elevates your relationships with others, creating a virtuous cycle of respect, trust, and achievement.